Hello world. So today we will take a look at something that we have all worked with and interacted with, and that is using Angular material icons. However, unlike the way we are used to, we are going to take a look at how we can actually customize Angular material icons to meet our needs. So for example, right here, taking a look at this speed icon, we see that we have used it like the way it is right here. However, we can customize it to have different colors. And also here, right here, the play icon, we also customize it to match our needs, okay? And also we can add our own custom icons, all right? So hopefully we learn something from this. And with that brief introduction, I think we can start. So first things first, make sure that you have Angular material installed in your application, okay? So to do that, you go to your terminal and then you just type ng add Angular material. You will be presented with a few prompts. Simply confirm them the way you want. But in our case, because I already installed it, we don't need to do it again. Now open your angular.json file and move all the way to the part where you have architect, build, and then the options path, and simply check to make sure that in your styles you have Angular material pre-built themes. Simply add the theme that you want right here, okay? And that's it. This is the only required part. After that, open your index.html file. So at the top within your head section right here, simply add this line, okay? So this is a link that points to the material icons. So you need it so that the material icons can be displayed in your application. So if we comment this out, for example, right there, and then we open our browser, we see that the material icons, they disappeared, okay? But if we comment it back in and then we save, they appear. So make sure that you have this line right here, okay? All right, let's continue. Over to our app config. So in this file, all I want you to take note of is this section right here, app initializers. I will not dig into what app initializers are because it's out of the scope of this tutorial, but all I can say just to mention is that app initializers, think of them as initializations that are required to be resolved when your application is loading. So in our case, we need to resolve the loading of our icons. So that's why we just say we provide an app initializer token. So this is an injection token. And with this one, it's possible for you to have multiple injection tokens for the app initializers. You can have others here, maybe for fetching languages from the backend. It's up to you. But in our case, all we need to do is to simply initialize our app icons utility by useFactory. What this useFactory will do is that it will invoke this method, and then this method, as we'll take a look at it, is what will be initializing our icons. All right, and now let's take a look at how we have defined our app icons. This icons file right here, let me just open it. It's within the app and then app.icons. If you are using, for example, monorepos and things like those, you can namespace them to be within the specific repo. But in our case, we just have them in the global scope of the application. Then all we need to do right here at the top, all I did was I added an interface that defines how our icons will be interpreted or represented. So we give them a name. This is a name that we'll be using in our HTML, okay, as we will see later on. And also we give them an SVG. This is a string, yeah? It's not a URL, it's a string. And this string is what now will be rendered. And after it's rendered, it can be displayed. So opening this, we see that, for example, here, the first one is a shared logo icon. So I call them shared because they are in the global namespace. But as I said, if you want to namespace them, you could have them as, like, for example, profile, icon, and so forth, based on your specific application structure. And then, as you see right here, this is simply an SVG, yeah? So this SVG right here, if I expand it, you see that it has everything here. It's really large, so it's for this one. It's for this icon, that's why it's so large. But for the others, they are so short, and like this one, for example, for the play icon, is a short one, and so forth. So that's all you need to remember here. You give the name, and you give the SVG string. And now it's time to initialize our app icons. And this code, it's so short, yeah? So I'll just explain it really quick. The first thing that we see right here is that we are using inject. Inject, what it does is that it's going to make it possible for us to be able to use a material icon registry by using dependency injection. And the other thing that you are going to use is also the DOM sanitizer, so that it's possible for us to bypass, yeah? Because remember, Angular will check if you are planning to inject. You see, these are SVGs. Like I think of them, they are just HTML elements. So we have to actually bypass trust HTML so that whatever is rendered is actually already DOM sanitized. Okay. So these are the two things that we will need. Now we just loop through our list, and then for each icon, we just register it by calling this method right here, add svg icon literal. Okay. Then we pass in the app icon name, and this is what will be used on the UI, and we pass in the string, yeah, that we have already sanitized. Remember, we have already sanitized this one, so that is going to be rendered and displayed on the UI. Okay, let's continue. So with our icons registered, so it's time to use them. So opening the app component right here, all we need to do, and it's because of how we have set it up, like it's a loop here, all we need to do is to simply create a list. And this list will be an array, and it has an icon name and an icon label. And notice that now right here, just as we would have done by simply calling the material icons, how we normally call them, we do the same. We give them a name and we give them an icon label. And then the name will be what will be translated into the icon, and the label is the readable value. Okay, that's just a context. So let me open the app component HTML side by side right here. So this is the first list. The first list is for the example material icons, and these are the ones that are right here. And the other list is for the example custom icons, and they are the ones that we have right here. Okay, so if we look at this list, right here, all we are doing is that we are looping. Then the important part is here. Notice that we are just calling it as you would have done normally. Yeah? Material icon, icon.icon name. Okay, and the name will be, for example, play arrow, speed, skip next, and so forth. Right, that is done for that part for the normal. Now looking at our custom ones, yeah, this custom list right here, is this loop that we have here. So this loop, I want you to note this section. This section, all that we need to change is this part right here, SVG icon. Then we give it an icon name, and the icon name is this one also. The shared, for example, shared profile, as we mentioned at the start, the custom names that we have given to these icons. Okay, so for example right here, if I give it a name that is invalid one, let's change it, this to invalid, and then we save. We see that it doesn't appear. Yeah, and if we inspect, yeah, our console, we see something invalid custom play icon, unable to find the icon with the name invalid custom icon play. Okay, so this is good actually, because if you, for example, use the wrong names, then Angular will actually let you know the issue. Okay, so how about if we change this one in our app icons right here? I believe it was the custom play. This one, I save it. Then we see like we changed to be invalid, and actually Angular did the work for us. We don't need to change anything else. Okay, so let's revert this back. Also. We save it, and everything is as it was before. Okay, all right. And that wraps up this session. You have seen how easy it is to add your own icons in Angular Material, and to register them and to use them. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And always remember, you stop growing when you stop learning. And what you learn, go for that, teach others, that you may grow together. And with that, until the next one.